This week in games, Life is Strange devs go on strike. Nintendo is suing the pants off of a guy. Multiversus flopped. And Mass Effect TV show officially announced. This is the Two Penny Gamescast. What's poppin', players? Welcome back to the Two Penny Gamescast, episode 225. I am your host, Tavin Bothel, here with my good friend and co-host. Say hello to the people, Connor Elliott.
How's it going, guys? Let's give it up for Donald Trump. Woo! Yeah! Woohoo! Come on, Tavin. You love him. Clap.
I love him.
Clap.
The best. I love him. I love this country. I love the people that are in it.
You just lied.
Full of intelligent people. Very intelligent people.
Like you, of course.
We got to do this. Do we have to?
I didn't know how you were gonna. I didn't know how you were gonna react. It was either shut up or
Can we talk about video games? We're here to talk about video games.
We can talk about video games. That's our purpose in life.
7 whatever million fucking idiot. Anyways, what are we talking about? Video games. This, of course, is the Two Penny Gamescast. Can't even do it. I can't even do it.
Where we come to you every week with 2 topics. 2 pennies, 4 topics. Fuck! You see, this is the problem. Tavin has this expectation that I have to do a certain line read. And yes, he's talked to me about it before off camera, about how I need to say it like him. And when I can't do it...
I've not said it. First of all, I've not said it that you need to say it like me. You just need to get all the information out. All right? There's set information that you guys need to get out. You got to get it out. And ideally, say it without being like... oh yeah, and that thing, and this, that, and the third. Know what you're gonna say and say it.
Fine. Well, my original point from last week is you can go to the description below and see everything that we got for you. So just do that.
Great descriptions. 2 topics, 2 pennies. Yeah. Anyways, this, ladies and gentlemen, is the Two Penny Gamescast. Each week, me and Connor come to you with the nerdy news you need to know concerning the video game industry. We each come to you with 2 topics, 2 pennies, if you will, and we give you our 2 cents on them. You can get to the show every Tuesday, 8 a.m. Central Time, youtube.com/@TwoPennyGames, or mainstream podcast services of your choice. But if you'd like to be part of the show as we're recording it, we do record all of our podcasts live Monday evenings, twitch.tv/TwoPennyGames. So make sure you jump over to Twitch, give us a little follow, a little subscribe to all of the social medias. Follow us on, here's the thing. I say follow us on Twitter and stuff because that's the link in the bottom. I'm off Twitter now. I deleted the app. My account is still there, so you can follow me if you want, but you're not gonna reach me there. So I got to figure out what to do about all that. You
can just go on your laptop or it's not a laptop anymore. It's a computer now. You can go on your computer and just have it online instead of an app. You can log in, log off whenever you.
I'm not gonna do that.
Why not?
Because I'm not on there anymore.
But you have the account still.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, but I'm not checking it. I'm staying off of that website. I don't like that website. I don't want to be a part of that website. I don't like what that website represents.
I guess we're going to die then. We have no connection to the people. Shame.
Drop comments down below about how you felt about today's topics and any topics that maybe we have missed and you want us to double back to. We would love, of course, an audience 2 pennies to be included in the run of show. Connor, how's your week been?
It's been good. I mean, the election may be showing what's to come, but for now, it's good. I played games, 2 games almost at the same exact time.
Look at you.
It's been a while.
Wow.
Usually you have to dedicate to 1 game.
Yeah.
I have 2 now.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you're doing 2.
What are those?
Stalker 2 coming up.
That is true.
Yeah, you're going to have to get on that one.
I wonder which one I'm going to have to drop for that. Dragon Age.
Yeah, I would assume it would have been Dragon Age. Yeah. I'm playing Dragon Age, having a time with it. We'll have a review maybe next week, maybe, or that.
We'll see.
We're trying, guys. We're very tired, and we're at the end of our ropes. Well, some of us are very tired because some of us are juggling a lot of plates, and then others of us are just hanging out, cooking rice and chicken in the kitchen for fucking 7 hours. How long does it take to cook chicken?
That was not that. That was lamb, sausages, and salt pork with carrots, celery, and onions. And that's what took a long time. The rice and chicken dish only took 10 minutes.
It definitely took you longer than that.
No. It took the rice.
You were grilling up some chicken for easily 35 minutes.
No, not that long, Tavin. Your sense of direction, your sense of time is warped. That's not what happened at all.
It is, because I'm probably 15 hours into Dragon Age the Veilguard. My PlayStation says 40. I'm like, I'm not 40 hours deep in this game. I'm not 40 hours deep in this video game at all.
Maybe you should reset it. You never turn that thing off.
Huh?
You never turn that thing off, I know.
Oh, the PlayStation?
Yeah.
I do turn it off. How dare you?
I know you do.
Yeah. I don't know where this time is going. Probably, I don't know. I legitimately don't know. But, it's there. Something to do with rest mode. It's got to do something with rest mode.
Can't you just check in the save menu in the game itself?
It only tells you the last time you saved. So, I mean, I guess maybe if I try and find... No, that's not going to tell me. That's just going to tell me how, the day I started playing, it's not going to help. Yeah, I don't know.
Try harder next time.
Thanks, Connor. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get into the nerdy news that you all love and care about. Here we go with our first topic of the day, my first penny of the day. Life is Strange dev workers are going on strike over impending layoffs. This is from Lan Pitts over at GameSpot.com. Workers at the French gaming studio Don't Nod, the developers behind Jusant, Life is Strange 1 and 2, and the upcoming Lost Records Bloom and Rage, are set to strike this week due to imminent layoffs. The STJV, stands for a much longer French thing, announced that the picket line will be next to the studio's headquarters in Paris. Last week, the union called for a strike due to the 69 jobs at the studios that are at risk. Don't Nod CEO Oscar Gilbert explained that a new initiative was designed for a reorganization project to ensure the company's long-term future amid deteriorating financial results. Quote, our half-year results for 2024 reflect the economic underperformance of our latest release, despite solid ratings on Metacritic, as well as the accounting impact of the decisions we had to take. The initial performance support measures announced last spring no longer seem sufficient to maintain the company's competitiveness, Gilbert said in a statement. Quote, as a result, today we presented a reorganization project to the employee representative bodies, which could set Don't Nod on a new development trajectory, he added. Quote, I am fully conscious of the impact this project may have on all of our employees. Securing our company's resources and restoring its ability to perform more in an increasingly competitive and selective industry is extremely necessary. STJV pointed out its demands and countered the statement with why the workers are striking and how it can be called off. Quote, we demand that management immediately give up on this irresponsible and unfair layoff plan. We demand that the studio's workers, who are the most competent people, have an actual say in all decision-making. We demand the presence of Oscar Gilbert in the negotiations and that he take full responsibility as CEO. This layoff plan is absurd, violent, and will not save our company. We therefore call on our colleagues to continue their mobilization with a 1-day strike on Friday, November 8th. Despite having to pause productions of 2 future releases due to lackluster sales of both Jusant and Banisher's Ghosts of New Eden, Don't Nod still has high hope for Lost Records Bloom and Rage out in February.
Well, this is the continuing trend that we've been experiencing. Not exactly, since they're not laid off yet. But, depending on how the strike goes, whether they're able to get any concessions or not, layoffs seem inevitable. And I, on one hand, I get it for this company. They haven't really done great recently in terms of sales. Like Ghost of New Eden, I heard was good, but I didn't, hear anybody really talk about it or play it. And so clearly the money end of things were not as successful. And, Don't Nod hasn't really carved itself out its own niche outside of Life is Strange. They're really only known widespread for Life is Strange and not really having many projects that can hit the same levels as that does all the time. It makes sense that they'd be having some issues over at the company. But at the same time, as we always mention on this podcast, do you need to, fire people? The first thing you need to do, lay off people. Our usual take is no, you don't have to. There's other steps you can take before this. Primarily, the CEO, who we're hearing from here, taking a pay cut. Now, will they? Clearly not. That's their first instance is to lay people off. It always seems to be the case across the entire industry, and that's yet to change. This is not a U.S. company, so as far as like unions, I don't know how strong they are over in France, or if
they got more workers' rights than us.
They do, but I don't know if it extends to don't nod. I don't know if it's a issue that's still being faced by the video game company.
I couldn't tell you the specifics for sure.
Yeah,
but hey, look, Don't Nod is looking to have the rights be more in favor of their workers. They're looking for more worker representation. They're looking to be on this little meeting of minds and create and craft decisions that best benefit the company as a whole, which goes directly against what the CEO is trying to do. And I think more power to him. Full support on that side of things. Hopefully we came to or got to an agreement off of that. We are recording on November 11th. The show goes live on the 12th. And so, no clear update so far as to how that's going. But I hope it went well. And I hope we see Don't Nod thrive again. Lost Records looks solid. That looks like a quality game. So we'll have to wait and see when it's all out and said for. I think we've got like the first episode or two or something like that. I don't know. They do this is one of those episodic release things. Or maybe I'm just completely off the mark and they just have a full launch in February. I don't know.
I believe that's what it is because I think it's just DLC. My understanding is it? No, it's not DLC.
No, it's a game.
Yeah, I don't think they've done the. Did they do the episode with the original?
I would have sworn that we had an episode 1, maybe even an episode 2 for this game.
It was split into episodes, but I don't know if it was released slowly over time or if it was just done, all the way. They didn't just go all in on it because it is obviously trying to be more like, from the structure of it, be kind of like a TV show or movie, which is why they have the episodes in the first place. But I don't know if exactly they, like you were talking about,
I'm fairly certain we've got episode 1 and 2, unless I'm just confusing it with the double exposure game, which I know we only have 1 or 2 of those out as well. And so, this is, I hope to see good results from this. We'll have to wait and see and find out on that. Something else we'll have to wait and see and find out on, Connor, something that I'm moderately excited for, but we'll have to see where it lands. Moving on to our second topic of the day, my second penny of the day, Mass Effect TV series in the works at Amazon from Fast and Furious 9 writer. This is from Variety by Joe Otterson. A Mass Effect TV series is officially in development at Amazon MGM Studios, Variety has learned exclusively. Daniel Casey is set to write and executive produce the adaptation. Kareem Zarek will executive produce under his Cedar Tree Productions banner, with Ari Arad and EA's Michael Gamble also executive producing. Cedar Tree is currently under an overall deal at Amazon MGM Studios. Exact plot details are being kept under wraps. It was previously reported in 2021 that Amazon was in negotiations to develop a Mass Effect TV series, but there have been no updates on the project until now. There had also been various attempts to develop a feature film based on the games, but that project never materialized. The first Mass Effect game launched to rave reviews in 2007. Since then, there have been 3 more games in the series, Mass Effect Andromeda debuting in 2017. There have also been multiple mobile games and in the franchise, as well as an animated film, novels, comics, and other media. So, Mass Effect, Amazon, TV show, not a movie, TV show, written and executive produced by the Furious 9. Is that what that one was called?
Yes, Fast and Furious 9.
Fast and Furious 9. Well, that wasn't the name of the thing. What was the name of that one, though?
I think I literally just looked it up.
F9. F9.
Yeah.
Oh, man, even shorter. That's right. I remember the promo ads for it now. Yeah, the F9. Yeah.
I had to look it up when I read that because I was like, is that the one with the new one or is it the one before the new one? It's the one before the new one.
So this immediately, you got a bunch of questions. What is it? What story are we following inside the world of Mass Effect? Are we doing the trilogy? Is this going to be a direct adaptation? How are you handling that? Player choice is such a big deal. The canon Mass Effect story is not set, so that's going to be a very, very interesting thing to play out. Or Are we doing more of an original story? Maybe we're expanding on a piece of lore that we already know about. Maybe we are telling a story completely separate from that of Commander Shepard. Who knows? Fast and Furious 9 writer set to write and executive produce. Now, F9, not the greatest movie in the world. Fun, but not the greatest movie in the world at all. I think when you go into a Fast and Furious, you know what you're doing, right? You're there to do the dumb action movie. We're gonna create dumb things to make the scenarios happen and so forth. So I'm not saying that just because this writer worked on that, we can expect that level of quality. Ideally, they would know what they're working with here, and we are coming hot off of Fallout through Amazon, right? Or was that one Paramount?
I want to say it's someone different. Let me say that.
I thought that was on Amazon Prime, was Fallout. But yeah, triple check on that one. So yeah, I'm curious. I hope it materializes and we actually see it come to life. We were still patiently waiting on that God of War adaptation to happen through Amazon. The Horizon Netflix one not going so well, obviously. And so yeah, we're in a strange time for all of these things. I don't know what the right choice is here. As a diehard fan of Mass Effect, seeing the original trilogy put to screen in a live action way would be cool, but then you immediately have to start asking questions of like, okay, how do we do the aliens? Like, are we doing prosthetics, CGI, something in the middle? Like, how does that all work? Very complicated stuff. And immediately you're going into high budget areas. Not impossible. There are examples of sci-fi TV shows with high budgets that work. There's examples of sci-fi TV shows with low budgets that work. And, just to run a gambit of everything else in between. So what is your take on this, Connor?
Well, to start off with the placement of what they would do in the Mass Effect universe, it is up in the air because it really depends on what their intentions are, because it would make sense if they'd want to do it as people know Mass Effect with Commander Shepard's story, having that translated over to a TV show could get a lot more eyes on it and attention on it than than a show set in the universe. So I feel like they'd have a better path to making more money, making it a direct adaptation of Mass Effect. But at the same time, because it's such a wide universe, they could do anything. And from an artistic perspective, I would really hope they, play around with the universe of Mass Effect. It's something that really hasn't been done with the IP at all. Obviously, there's some books and comic books, but in the main forms of media that most people consume, whether it's, a TV show or an anime or a video game or a movie, it might be interesting. It would be interesting to actually see you go beyond what the writers already paved with the original Mass Effect trilogy.
At the same time, the Reaper conflict is so central to that story, or as far as we know, it's central to that story. And I think a lot of fans would like to see that conflict put to screen. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, with just the heavy focus on politics in Mass Effect, the sex, the scandal, the strong characters. I mean, this could be an easy sci-fi version of Game of Thrones. The winter is coming, the Reapers are coming. Mm-hmm. Like that, it's the same type of idea and pitch. And of course, as we saw with Game of Thrones, the writers and directors of that show, for a long time when they were following the books, were doing great work. They were great adapters. We could see a great adaptation here, just kind of fitting it to the TV format in some way. I don't know.
And that's the thing about the conflict you were talking about with the Reapers. It being the Fast and Furious 9 writer kind of brings up some positives, but also some negatives. Positives, if they do go that route, the more fun, action-packed direction, there's a lot more faith I have in that writer to write good set pieces, to write good moments.
Yeah.
And a lot of that has to do with who else is in the writing room, which is very important for my next take, which is that it's the Fast and Furious 9 writer. So if they don't go that direction and they go the more politic, relations between different races, organizations within Mass Effect, which, arguably is one of the more interesting aspects of it. The Reaper plot's obviously the main driving factor of the narrative, but people love hearing about all of the different races, finding out about them, interacting with them, carving their path with Commander Shepard, which would make it a little bit difficult if you're going to go down his same exact route or her same exact route, where if it's a new character, you can take them in a completely different direction than just, Paragon or Renegade, which is generally what you would think they'd go with if they were to do a direct adaptation of the Mass Effect story, to try and bring in those fans. And because it's already kind of writes itself, you have the good, moral protagonist or the, kind of ruthless, get things done protagonist. You play around with more of that if you just You can play around more with that if you go with a different character than Shepard. But again, if they go a route where there's not a lot of action going on, it's not exactly certain that this writer can do a good job with that. Because writing is not the main strength of the Fast and Furious movies.
Right, but being a writer, like you take what the IP that you're working with, you provide what it needs for that. So just because they wrote for a Fast and Furious movie doesn't mean they're a bad writer. It could mean they're actually a great writer because they make something convoluted and stupid and working with a team of, how would you describe a Vin Diesel? You know,
Bland.
No, because Vin Diesel's like yoked out of his like he's like kind of a psycho, right?
Yeah.
So like you work with that and you get it to work, and the infamously like the stars like contracts like come with like a bunch of things of like they can't lose fights or they can't look bad or things like that. So like writing around those obstacles are difficult. If those are removed and we can actually like have the freedom to tell a flushed out story. I mean, you're talking Paragon and Renegade. I think you're too gamey already. Too much video game already. Like Commander Shepard is someone who gets the job done. That's all you need to know, you know? And then so from there, it's just we go down the points of like, all right, well, there are main beats that need to be hit. How do we get there? How do we translate that to live action? And then how do we make that interesting from a dialogue or action perspective, type stuff like that. A lot of this I think is fairly easy to answer because the games are so well written naturally that like you could probably lift a lot of those ideas. You'd have to streamline a lot of that dialogue because it being a video game, you have time for huge exposition dumps whenever you want. Whereas in TV, it's like, wow, you guys have been talking for 15 minutes. Can I see an alien get shot in the face, please? Or, some cool biotic power or things like that? I don't know.
But that depends on the quality of the writing because, it does have the framework of how to make a good TV show because it's already got great character beats, arcs of characters, interactions with them. But how are those going to play out in a TV setting? Because you obviously can't take the dialogue and just put it in there.
No, not
do a
one
little
for
bit
one.
of tweaks.
No, no.
So that's again where it comes back into, can this writer properly do that in a way that engages audiences? I hope so. I don't want them to just like say, "Oh, well, you worked on Fast 9, so."
Creative projects are so weird in the sense of
Yeah.
that, like sometimes you're putting out really great stuff and sometimes you're not, and it's not necessarily based upon you, and it's very rarely based upon the quality of writing in a script because a script is not what what you read on the page is not what you will see or hear in production or in execution and things like that. There's so many other steps along the way, so many other forms of interpretation and things to where like you'll get to the end of that and you're like, yeah, the script might have been great, but then the movie was still garbage, or the script might have been garbage and then the movie was great, or there's so many different ways to write things. We bring up set pieces because we assume the writers of Fast and Furious are very heavily detailed in their set pieces. So it could be Shepard takes cover, leans over, provides covering fire for Garrus, who then flanks around to the left, like is hyper detailed in that way. Or there's a shootout, Shepard wins, and then it's just up to choreographers, direction, actors, stunt people in how that is executed. You know what I'm saying? So it just all depends.
Yeah.
For example, I've done some acting. There's things called stage directions, Connor. That's the stuff that's written into the script that like character moves to the left side of the screen and picks up a thing. Me as an actor, I throw those things away. I don't give a fuck about stage directions. Doesn't matter. It doesn't mean a thing to me. Like, so, when I'm on stage, if the story needs to progress by me crossing over to the other side of the stage and picking up a phone, well, then I'm going to cross over and pick up a phone because that's what needs to happen next for the story to continue. But if there's a note, and usually stage directions are like leftover writings from a stage manager in the original production of the show or whatever, and then they just print that. So if it's just like character X crosses and then crosses back, I might do that if I feel it's necessary, or I could just throw that away. That's just an example of like writing and what's on the page doesn't matter so much as to like what happens at the end result.
Mm.
Still matters, still important. Still got to get the words right, but there's a lot of other things. You look at it and it's like there's like 3 or 4 different executive producers. Daniel Casey, who's also writing it. Kareem Zreik is executive producing with Cedar Tree Productions. Ari Arad who is does most of his work with Sony. EA's Michael Gamble. Like that's what 4 executive producers. Now that could mean that could be exactly what it needs. A name like Ari Arad attached to it probably means we will eventually see this come to fruition. But I don't want a Halo situation with the Halo TV show. You know, I want Game of Thrones in space personally.
Yeah, you know, we've entered into a space where video game adaptations are no longer just a dead in the water, you know, venture in terms of the quality. It depends on, you know, all the things you were just talking about, the different parts that come into play to make a movie or a television show. And from that, you have Halo, but you also have Fallout.
Yeah.
And then you also have, what was the other fucking thing? You know, outside of the realm of video game adaptations,
Last of Us,
Lord of the Rings adaptation. You know, varying qualities all across the board. At least they got something here. At least, like, the core of what Mass Effect is lends itself to a TV show or a movie.
Depending on success and how it's received, those 3 games are long. Yeah. You can stretch those out as long as you want, you know? Game 1 doesn't have to be over in Season 1. Mm-hmm. But Game 1, or Season 1 could end on Pharos or something, or like with the death of, like the whole Season 1 could be about beating Matriarch Benezia or something like that, you know? Like just in that alone, you've already got so much buildup that you can happen. Some will they, won't they, a Shepard, what is it when you like, get like sexually involved with like coworkers and stuff?
Procreate?
No. It's going to drive me crazy. Anyways, you know, a bunch of will they, won't they's with Shepard and the crew or whatever, if they choose to go that route. Should they just do the Shepard route?
See, this is a little fear I have.
Yeah.
Right? For this kind of show, you have aliens.
Yeah.
Either you're going to go the Star Trek route of, hey, we have aliens in the show. Let's have aliens in the show. Or you're going to go the route of, like, Season 1 of Halo. I don't know everything else past that point, where it's just a lot of, like, human interactions when you're expecting, you know, a lot more aliens.
You gotta do the aliens. In
you
have
to.
You have to.
More important than, you know, well, not more important than
I
Halo.
understand I understand the idea of Halo of having a mostly human cast.
Even though it failed in that case.
In this case, it failed. But I understand in a production meeting of being like, well, we could have aliens, but like, what are the aliens in Halo? Right? They're just the bad guys.
The religious fanatics. You can play around with that.
You can, but functionally in the games, it's just bad guys.
And their solution was, let's make the main antagonist a human character, raised by the Covenant.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
that doesn't make any sense at all, you know?
Yeah.
Anyways, no, I mean, but like, what are the requirements for some of these aliens? One person wears a mask the whole time. Okay, that's not that hard. One, you know, it requires some work, but it's not the hardest thing in the world. One is blue. All right, you know, that's an annoying work week, is showing up 3 hours early to get blued up in the face all the time. And then one's got scaly face. Okay, that's a little harder. How do we do that? We put a mask on. Do we have a animatronic?
You know, CGI.
Yeah. Do we do that plus a mix of CGI? That's a little trickier. You know, big turtle thing. Probably just a big suit. You know, probably. You know, or something. I don't know. These things get kind of tricky and complicated quickly.
I mean, a lot of what they could play around with that to skirt having to constantly have people in makeup is.
Keeper matters so much.
That'd be CGI. That's not.
Well, of course, yeah. Or
okay.
I mean, you could get away probably with some models and so forth, like how they get destroyed. But of course, you know, we're working like way further down the line. You know.
Yeah, I think their best avenue to have as many aliens in the show as possible is have them in armor. You know, that means you're just having to worry about, you know, props and the outfits rather than like do makeup. Which, you know, I'm assuming that's the harder part of making, you know, practical effect aliens.
I mean, all of it's difficult.
Mm-hmm.
There's no easy way to do, especially because like Turians are have much different proportions than humans do. You have to make that look right, you know, and that is going to be a complicated time every single time you choose to have a Turian in the scene. You're going to see a lot more humans than you are probably other things, just because that's so much easier and so much cheaper, or a lot of blue people, because it's not that hard. You know, you slap some blue on somebody, put a little hair prosthetic on top of their head, and there you go. You got a Asari.
Yeah.
You know, it's when you start getting to the Solarians, the Turians, the Chunka,
Krogan.
that's where it starts getting difficult. Even the Quarians aren't that hard.
Yeah, but Quarians seem to be...
Even the Geth are going to be pretty easy.
When we talk about these things, the more I think it's just going to do CG. It just seems like that's like
you got to do a mix. You can't just like blanket statement CG things. Like that's not how production works. You know, sometimes it is, but not all the time. You know, a space battle is going to be mostly CG. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, but it's expensive to just have a CG model walking around with Shepard the whole time because you got to make it look like it's part of the world.
Yeah.
It's much easier to put a guy in a suit, have him be in makeup for 3 hours. And then do that. It's much more physically demanding, and you know you got to pay attention to those details, and you know things break or go wrong or whatever. And then some of that is a touch up with CG if necessary. It just depends on what they're trying to do.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll be looking forward to how it's going to come into fruition.
I'm very, very curious.
Before or after the next Mass Effect game?
That's a good question.
Yeah, because it's shorter to make a TV show nowadays. But at the same time, they've kind of put a lot of effort into making Mass Effect now that Dragon Age is done. So it could be, ramping up, and by the time, maybe they come out the same exact time. Maybe that's their goal.
I think they're going to be pretty close.
Yeah.
If I were to guess. I think this next Mass Effect game is probably going to take 3 years to get around to, 3 to 4 years to get around to, because they've been toying around with it. They're already in production for it, or at least like pre-production for it. Coming off of Dragon Age, I don't think it's the same teams working on those two things, but I think collectively, I am hearing in the streets that BioWare is feeling very, very confident in itself after Dragon Age, the Veil Guard, which I hope that's true. I hope they are feeling confident so that we can get a banger Mass Effect game. Yeah, it just kind of depends on how long it's gonna take. How long did it take from when they announced they were doing a Last of Us show to when we actually got the Last of Us show?
I want to say it was 4 years.
I want to say it was at least 2.
I feel like we heard about it a long, while ago.
Maybe.
Before it was even, going a little bit.
So, yeah, it would not surprise me if these things sort of start coming out at the same time. Or at least I could see 6 months in between each other or something like that. Which, from a cross-medium marketing perspective, that's great because people are going to play the games, or people are going to watch the show and be like, oh man, this is cool. Oh, there's a video game. Let me check that out. Oh, there's a new one. Just came out. It's different, so I'm not going to spoil myself on the show, so I can play that. Or Legendary Edition's there. Play the Legendary Edition.
Just to clarify, it got announced in 2020. Came out in 2023. So
The Last of Us?
Yeah. 3 years.
Okay.
Which, if you're with your prediction of when the next Mass Effect game's coming out, 3 to 4 years, if they make that in 3 years, that'd be a good setup for the game. Because I feel like this would be a better thing to release before, since maybe it's a bit safer, especially with how BioWare's been recently. They got good with Dragon Age Veilguard, but that could be a fluke. They could still mess up. They're not out of the water. They're not out of the hot water yet. They just cemented themselves better than they otherwise would have if Veilguard was a fail.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. And they've already, we covered it last week. They're not doing DLC for Dragon Age, which is a first in BioWare history, at least for a long, long time.
Even Anthem got DLC.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we've seen them say, never mind. Well, I guess Andromeda didn't really get anything, but they were planning on doing things for Andromeda and they got canceled. So it gets complicated in those ways. And then I also forget if they did anything multiplayer-wise with Andromeda or even Inquisition. Did Inquisition get a DLC?
No, it did not.
Yeah. Regardless, they're giving a hard, we're moving on. We're putting pedal to the metal. We're getting back to Mass Effect. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that all connects. But Connor, we need to move on to our third topic of the day. Your first penny of the day. Go ahead and take it away, my friend.
Well, we got an article from IGN here from Wesley Yin Poole. Warner Bros. Admits Multiversus underperformed, contributing to another $100 million hit to revenue in its games business. Free-to-play Smash Bros. Style brawler Multiversus has significantly underperformed publisher Warner Bros. Discovery has admitted, contributing to a further $100 million write-down for the company's games business in 2024. Warner Bros. Games acquired Multiversus developer Player First Games in July, just 2 months after the game relaunched on PS4, PS5, PC, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and S following early access and open beta releases throughout 2022 and 2023. Quote, our team is excited to join the Warner Bros. Games family, and we feel that this will be great for Multiversus overall. Hun said at the time, we are working to make the Multiversus game experience the best it can be, and having our development team integrated with the publisher is optimum for the players, end quote. However, speaking in a recent financial call, Warner Bros. Discovery President and CEO David Zaslav, Devil Incarnate, and Chief Financial Officer Gunnar Weidenfels said Multiversus' failure had added another $100 million to the $200 million write-down the company's games businesses had already suffered earlier this year. Warner Bros. Games' only new game release during the third quarter of 2024 was Harry Potter: Quidditch Champions, which failed to make an impression. Quote, we recognize the game business is substantially underperforming its potential right now, Zaslav said, end quote. Weidenfels added more detail. Quote, we took another $100 million plus impairment due to the underperforming releases, primarily Multiversus this quarter, bringing total write-down year-to-date to over $300 million in our game business, a key factor in this year's studio profit decline, end quote.
Woo! And I don't think it's going to get much better. You know, them Hobbit games are not looking great.
No. I think we all know what the cause of all of this is. It's the weird decision to take it off the game store and tweak it. Because my knowledge, it was doing well at the time.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't... I can't recall the number off the top of my head if they even gave it about how much money they were making off of it.
Is it free to play?
It is free. It was free to play, yeah.
It was. Is it now?
Oh.
Let me look at that. Oh, I had TikTok open.
Uh-oh. Yeah, and you know, it's... Obviously, Sony's not really responsible for that. Warner Bros. Isn't really.
It is still free to play.
It is still free to play. Yeah. Warner Bros. Obviously didn't make that decision, but it certainly didn't do the game any favors now that it's returned because it had momentum. I remember people were playing it. I had friends that were playing it.
Yeah.
They dropped it, and they haven't really gone back since.
Oh.
One of our mutual friends, Jordan, tried to, but he just didn't get into it the same way he did back in the day. Despite the fact that apparently it's better. You know, you kill your momentum. It doesn't matter if you make a better game.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have the support that you once did.
It's the tricky balance you have to do with all of these live service styled games or never-ending multiplayer game type things where like you have to figure out how to make a banger, and striking while the iron is hot is the only way to really ensure success in these scenarios. You should not have taken the game down. And then you should have figured out a way with Warner Brothers to make it a bigger impact of when it came back if you chose to do that for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. This was a huge mistake. And in terms of Warner Brothers games, it is one in a series of huge mistakes. As you look around at the field, they're not really doing much with Lord of the Rings, or at least nothing positive with it. Gollum last year failing miserably. They got a Hobbit game next year that doesn't look super promising.
We did have that earlier story in the year where they were going to they came out and were like, we're going to try and get as much money out of
extort Lord of the Rings.
Extort Lord of the Rings. That was the word. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're still waiting on the extortion of that to happen. Shadow of Mordor, it's been a long time since we've had one of those games. The second one didn't really do big banger numbers like the first one did, is my understanding of that. And, Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. Harry Potter Quidditch Champions. There's another one that I'm missing off the top of my head. Gotham Knights. You know, the list just keeps going on and on and on and on. And Hogwarts Legacy last year was great, but can Harry Potter alone survive your entire gaming arm branch? It doesn't look like it can.
No. And, I think the sad part of this story isn't that they're not making money, because, that sucks, but it's kind of a design of their own making if it's not coming back the way it was before. The fact that they're now owned by Warner Bros. Is concerning, because...
The Multiversus team. You're jumping around a lot.
Multiversus team, yeah. Because nowadays we see more and more and more, and it seems to be the case for Warner Bros. More so than most other companies, extremely willing to just cut off whatever company they have underneath them just to save a little bit of money. And when you're underperforming, that just puts a target on your head, and...
Sometimes not even that.
You
could be doing great and you're still getting shut down in this industry right now.
And I was kind of getting to the point where, it's nicer that some companies were moving away from being owned by these big publishers.
Yeah.
But they're clearly not, independent.
I mean, there's still pros and cons to all of these things,
There are.
right? You know, and so unfortunately, like when your game is doing hot, I can understand how accepting this paycheck to ideally be a little more secure in your standings would benefit you. But as of right now, like, you know, that's before, you know, those talks start happening before a Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League launches, and that happens before a what else came out of Warner Brothers that I'm missing?
Champions.
Like Batman across the board is not carrying the way it's supposed to. Lord of the Rings is like just a sad state of affairs, you know? And so you just got to look around and go, all right, well, great. You know, Warner Brother Games got lucky once. If I were in that position today at what is the studio?
Player First Games.
Play First Games?
Player
First? Oh, Player First Games. If I were head of that studio, I would not have sold it off to Warner Brother Games. I would have kept it in and can have this great publishing deal and keep this alive and keep this going. But yeah, it's count your days for Player First, and that's unfortunate because Multiversus is a solid game, quality game, fun to play. We played it, you know, when the big beta stuff was happening and when it was hot, we liked it a lot. And yeah, taking it off and taking it out of our mindset, you know, out of sight, out of mind type thing, that was a mistake. You shouldn't have done that. And now here we are, you know, reaping the results here, and it's not great.
And the thing that sucks the most about it is that's all on the business side of things. So the people that made a good quality game, you know, for their efforts, they're possibly going to be rewarded with being laid off.
Yeah.
Out of, you know, nothing they did wrong, but that's the nature of the industry as we constantly cover it.
Unite and fight.
Exactly right.
Moving on to our final topic of the day, your second penny of the day, Connor. Let's get into this. This is good. Oh no! What happened?
Tavin, come on. What are you doing?
Malicious website blocked? It's fucking IGN.
That means it's just being weird. The accept risk.
Gotta be it.
Like, point is, these guys, they really want to just...
What happened? What happened here?
You clicked allow.
Hold on. Something's happening. IGN. It's not.
There we go. Yeah, so it just...
Like an ad showed up that fucked me or something?
Go ahead. But yeah, IGN. Gamer sent Nintendo a letter boasting he had 1,000 burner channels to stream pirated games from and could do this all day. Now Nintendo has sued him for millions of dollars. Wesley Yin-Poole, once again. Nintendo has sued a gamer for streaming pirated Nintendo games such as The Legend of Zelda, Echoes of Wisdom, before their official release date. As reported by Polygon, Nintendo filed a lawsuit in a Colorado court against Jesse Kagan, a.k.a. Every Game Guru, accusing him of not only streaming 10 Nintendo games before they came out, but telling his viewers how to obtain them. The list includes The Legend of Zelda, Echoes of Wisdom, Super Mario Party Jamboree, and Mario and Luigi Brothership. According to the lawsuit, Keegan obtained and streamed leaked Nintendo games at least 50 times since 2022, and provided links to the Yuzu and Ryujinx emulators for viewers. Nintendo alleged these actions amounted to, quote, trafficking, end quote, in illegal, quote, circumvention devices, end quote, and insisted they caused, quote, millions of dollars worth of damage through, quote, lost video game sales. The lawsuit's reads, quote, streaming leaked games prior to their publication normalizes and encourages pre-release piracy. Defendant is signaling to viewers that they too should acquire a pirated copy and play the game now, without waiting for its release and without paying for it. Pre-release piracy harms law-abiding Nintendo customers who may have been waiting for a particular game release for months or years and then may see gameplay and spoilers online that ruin their own surprise and delight when experiencing the game. In turn, pre-release piracy caused Nintendo tremendous harm, including millions of dollars of monetary harm from lost video game sales, both of Nintendo's and its licensees' copyrighted games, and loss of goodwill, end quote. Apparently, multiple takedown notices from Nintendo failed to prevent Keegan from continuing to stream the company's games on the likes of YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. His YouTube and Twitch channels are now offline as a result of copyright strikes. What's more, the lawsuit alleges Keegan sent a letter to Nintendo in late October boasting he had 1,000 burner channels to stream from and threatened to continue to use them, saying he could do this all day. In addition to the seizure and destruction of emulators and devices in Keegan's possession, Nintendo wants $150,000 in damages for each alleged violation of Nintendo's rights under the Copyright Act and $2,500 per violation arising from violations of the anti-circumvention and anti-trafficking provisions of the Copyright Act. With over 50 alleged incidents in 2 years, the potential damage could reach $7.5 million, or Nintendo could take actual damages to be proven at trial. Nintendo told Polygon, quote, "We can confirm that we filed a lawsuit against an individual who is engaged and continues to engage in clear infringement of Nintendo's IP rights, as well as violations of our game content guidelines. Nintendo is passionate about protecting the creative works of game developers and publishers who expend significant time and effort to create experiences that bring smiles to all," end quote. Why would you send a letter?
You're fucking around to find out, dog. He said I can do this all day, like he's Captain America or some shit. Dog, you're stealing. Like you're stealing a lot for a long time. This was coming. These are the cows coming home to moo. You know what I'm saying?
Could have gotten away with it probably.
If you shut the fuck up. Yeah.
Yep. Usually, I don't really care about these stories in the sense of like Nintendo need to protect its copyright laws. I get to. I don't still give a shit that much. But this is one of those cases where I just have no sympathy for you at all. It's like,
bro, you digging that grave deep.
Yeah.
Deep, you were digging that grave.
And they even gave you a copyright strike.
They said stop.
Yeah, so take the warning. They know who you are.
Yeah. Why are you playing? Why are you playing with the most litigious game publisher in the market? And why are you acting like they're not going to sue the crap out of you and charge you millions of dollars in damages? Of course they're going to do that.
The only reason besides being cocky I could see is that he's young. Like maybe even 18. We don't even really know if he's underage. They said nothing. They said nothing about his age. Most likely he's not, but there's a potential he is, and was just mouthing off and is now probably regretting it.
I would assume so. Because you're shut down on all angles. I don't think there's a world in which you can come back and like be streaming things again. And so this was like every other publisher is gonna blackball you to death. So yeah, man, like you're just hurting yourself in this scenario. This is truly hilarious for me. This is just an example of like, what did you expect was going to happen, dude? Like, you can't do these things forever. And yeah, just being a cocky little shit like you are. I got 1,000 burner accounts. I can do this all day. That's okay.
I guess he needed 1,000.
You know who else can do this all day? The people with millions and billions of dollars. That Mario movie made a lot of money. They got cash to burn on you, motherfucker.
Yeah, I had another point, which is and for the. No, I guess I am insulting the games themselves. For those games, like, usually when you hear, like...
games?
They're good games, sure, but...
Those are good games.
Like, worth doing all of this for that? Like,
Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, Mario Party Jamboree, Mario and Luigi Brothership, that's only from this year.
Yeah, but if it's like...
He's been doing this since 2022.
I didn't read that part.
That's Tears of the Kingdom. That's Mario Wonder, maybe.
It's just like, they didn't... You would think they would... like, put that as one of the main games.
Well, they gave you the last 3.
Yeah.
The most recent 3.
That's what I'm saying. It's like...
one of them is a Legend of Zelda game.
Yeah, but so is the...
a good one, too.
So is the manga. Why am I insulting the manga? The manga's good.
What are you talking about?
There's a Twilight Princess manga that's well made in terms of art.
Cool.
Yeah. You don't think it's cool. Stop saying that. Yeah.
We're not talking about video games.
My point is... this wasn't worth it.
This is not worth it, bro. You made a mistake. This is... Now, let's be realistic. Millions of dollars in damages?
I've brought it up too many times. I'll do it again, though.
Yeah.
They're making a guy pay for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Millions of dollars? Yeah, they'll do that. Why would they not? Why would they balk at that? They have no reason to. As you said, they have tons of money. They are extremely protective of their IPs. Yeah. And
how much realistically do you think Nintendo's lost because of this guy? Because they've lost money because of this guy. Probably in the thousands, maybe even in the hundreds of thousands.
But not anywhere what they're going to spend.
He's been doing it for 2 or 3 years,
Yeah. But all that's going to be recouped through lawsuits.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Well, honestly, no, it's not. There's no way this guy can pay a lot of this stuff.
Oh, no.
Even one of those fines he couldn't do. And so I think a large part of it is the fact that he sent them the letter. I could see them getting a little bit miffed at that and go, okay,
potential-
that's the game you
for
wanna
sure.
play? That's how you want to do it? You
Oh,
know?
yeah.
No longer are you
100%.
just a one out of millions of emulators and, whoever the fuck would be hackers, I guess, which you would call these people, But you, I want to get your ass. I hate you.
Nintendo wants $150,000 in damages for alleged violation of Nintendo's rights under the Copyright Act. All right, so yeah, that makes sense. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. $150,000 is a long way away from $1 million. And then $2,500 per violation arising from violations of the anti-circumvention. 50 alleged incidents. 50 times 2,500 is not $1 million.
No. See, it's 150,000 in damages for each alleged violation.
Yeah.
It's 2,500 per violation.
Yes.
Arising from violations.
For each alleged.
like an extra
for
tacked
each alleged.
on.
Oh, I thought the 150 was just like a flat. You've cost us
For
$150,000
for the 50 violations.
Yeah.
Plus whatever's going to be tacked on, the
Okay.
250 that's going to be tacked.
Okay, yeah, that's a lot of money.
2,500, yeah.
That's a lot of money. Could
Yeah.
reach 7.5 million. Yeah, I believe that. Woo-hoo-hoo. Buddy, you should not have made fun of them. You should not have mocked them to their face. That's really the problem. That's like really where you went wrong. And also, Nintendo, when they send you a cease and desist, you fucking listen. You just stop doing it, because they're gonna sue the fucking crap out of you.
Yeah.
Mistakes.
People don't learn.
Oh man, this one's humorous to me. I'm laughing at this guy, because one, he's actually breaking the law. Two, it's actually illegal. That's the same thing I just said twice.
Yeah.
No, he's actively stealing. He is actively costing the company money. So, all right, yeah.
And when Nintendo loses money, my heart loses.
Listen, I understand. Nintendo's got more money than God. They don't need any more, but they're still a business and they have the right to own their shit, right?
Yeah.
If we were savvy in selling product and we were making more than enough for both of us to be very, very comfortable and happy for the rest of our lives, right? But someone is stealing our t-shirts and selling them out the back door, we're going to sue them because that's ours. Even if we don't need the money.
I don't know if I would. At that point, I'd be
You'd
like,
have
"Nah,
to. You'd have to, because then you could let anybody steal.
Well, depends on the severity.
Because how does the law work, Connor? Off of precedence.
And I will choose to submit a lawsuit if I think it's worthy enough. Otherwise, I'll be sitting pretty, Tavin.
Right, but if you have 50 examples of if the court has 50 examples of you not doing things, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you want to take one case out of this and be like, okay, but no, this one. They're going to throw you out and they're going to say, well, you let these other motherfuckers go. So it sucks to be you. It's tough that you feel a way about this one.
Well, Tavin, I'm not saying this on the podcast.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say it on the podcast.
Oh, geez.
I would play dumb and pretend.
You didn't know?
I didn't know.
You didn't know?
Yeah.
And then that would be up for debate, and that would be where your court thing was going on.
But now I can't do that.
No. Well, also,
they'll find it.
We don't make any money off of this, so
That's true.
it's not like we're doing much of anything.
It's
Anyways,
theoretical.
of course. We got a short recording day today because Phil is sick, so I hope Phil gets better. So I'm kind of cruising right now. I'm having a good time. I'm excited. I might actually get to play some Dragon Age tonight.
There you go.
Been playing Dragon Age all week. It's a good time.
Yeah. I have been playing it not all week, but for part of the week. And for the other part of the week, Metaphor. Be Fantasio.
How's that?
Amazing.
Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Oh, okay.
I want to play it more.
All right.
Yeah, I'll play
let's go ahead and wrap this up here. Ladies and gentlemen, this has, of course, been the Two Penny Games Cast, episode 225. Thank you so much for watching, listening. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow us for more on our social medias and on our TikTok pages. You can catch the show every Tuesday, 8 a.m. Central Time, youtube.com/@TwoPennyGames, or mainstream podcast services of your choice. Remember to drop a comment down below on all of today's stories and any stories we missed during the week. How do you feel about Dragon Age the Veilguard or Metaphor ReFantasio? What game are you excited to play coming up in the coming weeks? Let us know down in the comments below. But until next time, have a great time. And Connor, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye, America.